So I have been thinking why some matches I just seemingly do well but still lose, and I kind of started listing the overall strategies in Call of Duty Mobile, and now I will just go through them all and then even do various pairing comparisons and explanation. So at first my strategy, so this is basically step by step. First I go to a BG, then I slay around the BG and do some spawn control. So basically I just push out to the spawn area, kill some enemies, make sure that we get the spawn, and then go back to a BG. And from there push to another side, kill more players. And so then I repeat it, going back to the BG if we lose it, and rotate to the next one on time, which is crucial. So basically now this strategy is a mix of OBG and just being full on aggressive, killing everyone. And the main problem, the most notable clear problem is that if my team is not playing OBG, I just get stuck in the step 1 and like spend the whole match just going to OBG dying, going to BG dying, going to BG dying, or finally reaching it for a longer time and just sitting there. So basically I become an OBG player. And some of those matches I have won, like I have 2 minutes just sitting in OBG, but it's just super painful. Moving on, we have the nukers. So basically what they primarily do is they go to the lanes where are no teammates in those lanes, because teammates are playing, having a heated battle in some other location. And then enemies, we try to flank to get to the new OBG or just to like come to the teammates from behind. And so nukers, we just sit there and we kill all those enemies. And they are super easy to kill. I don't nuke, but I have been on that side where I was trying to flank and I get killed once, twice, thrice, whatever, by the same nuker. And so yeah, we get easy kills. Eventually we nuke, unless we get too close to a hot zone where actual battle is going on. Then we die and lose their nuke streak. And so also we sometimes just camp indoors, like also in between some lane, between some OBG area and where the enemies are spawning. And so we get a nuke. But for overall strategy for game, this contribution is minimal. Like, don't get me wrong, it takes a lot of skill to successfully get all those 20 kills and nuke. But like, what happens when I'm pushing lane, I get killed by a nuker? I simply push it again. I get killed again, I push another lane, and eventually I will reach the OBG, I will sit in the OBG. And usually like 9 times out of 10, whenever I got nuked by an enemy, we still won the match. So if teammates are playing well, if we are doing OBG, then nuking is cool. But like if you see that you're losing OBG points, just stop. Just don't do it. Okay, moving on, we have the OBG player. So the strategies go to OBG, sit on OBG, get some score streaks because you are still unlocking them while you are sitting, getting points. Get some nice operator skill activations and win the game. Now the good part of this is that it allows other players slay around, but the bad part is that you will not get many kills and also you are kind of passive, so enemies can just break through, kill you. Like if the team would be all OBG players, it wouldn't be good. You would just all go to OBG, get killed, try to go again, get killed again. But to have at least one OBG player in every like 5 setup of team, it is very helpful. Okay, moving on, we have this layer, and it is essentially just rush, shoot, die, repeat. Basically what I do once OBG is taken by my team, minus the rotation to the next point on time and spawn control. And with a good team, it can be fun because you can get many kills. And like you might stop enemies from reaching OBG, but like everything depends on what goes on in the OBG itself. If your teammates are all slaying, maybe someone's trying to nuke, it's just game over. Or some guy will just have to sit in OBG for many minutes and you might still win, but it will be like very painful for those who just have to sit on OBG because some players decided to just go for kills. And like, it is fun, of course, but like you have to have a good team setup mix. Moving on, we have the lane holders, or we can call them head glitches. Now comparison would be a player in Nuketown who is just sitting in the second floor and killing enemies through the window, or like sitting by the cars. And usually they are like super passive, they just sit there and kill whoever is going by. Now this strategy is kind of okay, but it revolves around a particular area. And so enemies can just flank another area and get into a BG and sit on a BG. So it is annoying but useless. Like in Nuketown, the same window, let's say domination, I go to B, I get killed by that window person, I just go to B again. Then at some point the window person is not looking at me because he's shooting someone else, I just shoot him, I take B. Bam. That's all. And this strategy, well, or in Shoot House, there are those head glitches and players snipe. And that is the most useless thing. Like I go to the hard point, okay, I get sniped once, I go again, I will avoid that lane, I will stand somewhere else. That's it. And I don't know, I try to think like a really good value. Well, I guess if your team is actively going to point B, and you just kill off enemies who are also trying to get there, it can be an advantage. But I think it would be best compound, like instead of it just being a hate glitcher, if you play for instance Versatile, which I go to next soon, or Dom playstyle, and like you go to window, you get some kills, you jump out, you go to OBG point, which is what I have done quite a few times. Like I go to the window, I kill the camping enemy, I kill an enemy or two through the window, I jump out, I go to point. That is good. Next we have the persistence, which is basically herder, vital, and win or lose. Because the thing is that we get expensive score streaks like vital, chopper gunner by around the end of the match. And if we start spamming them, sometimes it leads to just them stealing the game, stealing the win. However, if it is only one like persistence player in the team, then it usually just does nothing. For the maximum effect, it has to be 3 or 5 persistence users in the stack, because when we just go vital, 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 win, and if it is just vital, it gets destroyed, nothing, pointless, useless. Although, if you're like new to the game and you have, let's say, chopper gunner there, then it is nice. Like you just help your team, you play, you do your best, you drop one chopper gunner. It's nice, it's okay. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying never use it. Like, if you're new, use it. All good. Moving on now, Versatile, we are basically a mix of passive-aggressive playstyle with occasional OBG playing and kill streaks. It is kind of like a mini nuker who does play BG, and we kind of like just switch between strategies, get some kills from afar, get closer, get some kills up close. But what I've noticed is that we usually don't push into point. Like you will see them standing by the hot zone location, and they just stand and wait for someone else to go inside and take it, because that is the place where you might die. And I would say that Versatile players, we are better in terms of like overall team value compared to the nukers, but we are kind of similar. But it's good, like I have a smiley face, because it's good, it's not bad. We have the Anchor, which is basically spawns OBG with some occasional slaying, because having the spawn is crucial. Playing OBG is also so crucial, and slaying, well, usually anchors we don't slay, but like if no one else does, then they might try to do it. But mostly you will see them being at the spawn location on time. Like let's say you're going through from the previous spawn to the new one, and as you reach it, you already see the username of the anchor that we are already standing in this side, fixing the spawn for those who died, so they would spawn in that area. And that is extremely important. Like it is also what I do. Like I said, I do the anchoring, you will see it in my videos as well. Like I'm killing, everything is super active, and suddenly I'm just chilling in the Nuketown area by the fence. And I do it just to fix the spawn, so the teammates they would spawn in that zone, not on the other side. And it is super important, so having anchor is good. But the downside could be that we are kind of like OBG players, we are passive. So if team is just anchors and OBGs, it would be just bad. But everything is again about a full dynamic of the team. Like if it is 5 nukes, it is also horrible. And another playstyle that can actually be extremely helpful is aggressive SMGing, which is basically aggressive close-range SMGs like Fennec, CX-9, Switchblade X9. And what we do is we do the close positioning, like we get close to some hot zones, or inside them, like inside the BG, or let's say Nuketown on one side of the building, and we just kill all the enemies who are going in that area. So it is OBG. We can also do the spawns because we will go to the next building where we will wait for the enemies to come, so it is kind of also spawn control. And we get many kills. So it is kills OBG, so it's good for team. So now the faces, so with Dom playstyle we get OBG, we get kills, it is good for team, it is a happy face, like big mouth happy face. Nuke I put in neutral because there is some value in just making it harder for the enemies to reach the BG, but they will eventually be there. So to nuke, if you see that your other teammates they are just laying whatever, just don't. OBG happy face because it is crucial to have at least one OBG player, but at the same time emphasis is at least one, like you don't want to have 3 OBG players. Slaying is a sad phase because it gets many kills, but it does not do like the actual OBG contribution. Now, of course, let's say you have a team of 2 OBG players, 1 Slayer, 1 me, and 1 something else. It is a good setup because the Slayer will still make impact that other players are not making in your team. Like, let's say 2 OBGs, Anchor, me, Slayer. So me and the Slayer will be slaying, Anchor will be doing the spawn fix, and 2 OBG players will be sitting in OBG. It is good. But if it is like a team full of Slayers and no one is just trying to OBG, it is bad. Now lane, I sad phase and like, it doesn't really do many value. It will be just some guy sniping for some TikTok montage. Persistence, well, I have a separate phase. I think persistence is stupid if it is a squad of persistence. If it is just one player doing some help for a chopper gunner that is guaranteed, well, okay, that's fine. Now, versatile playstyle, smiley face, but like not super happy. Just because, like I mentioned, we usually avoid getting directly into the hot zone, we will be nearby. But it still has value because we like killing enemies up close, killing enemies from afar. It adds some confusion, it adds some map control, it is not bad. Now we have the Anchor, big happy face again. Just like I said, if it is only anchors, it will be and aggressive SMG. Now, having at least one aggressive SMG alongside one OBG, it would be ideal. Because we both are like, we are doing a very similar thing around the OBG area. Or like SMG player will be kind of just standing in another place, making it hard for enemies to get inside the OBG. But we are kind of like still playing around. Aggressive SMG is kind of like an aggressive OBG player. And so that is good. Although if a team would be 5 aggressive SMGs, then it would not be bad because enemies would just start killing them from afar. Like play a bit more passive, and such team is not ideal either. Set of examples. We have Tom, OBG, Anchor, SMG and Versatile. Great team. Dom, Slayer, Nuke, Lane, Persistence. Bad team. Like, I will just have to sit on a BG whole match, and it really depends on whether I manage to hold it or not. Because let's say I get pushed by 2 enemies, I lose it. Those guys, we are just trying. We are even competing with one another for the same kills because it is only 5 enemies. Just bad. Dom, OBG, Slayer, Anchor, Lane, good. Like, because we have me, we have OBG. We have Anchor, so these guys, they are good for strategic value. Slayer is good for just getting kills, like some map positioning, control, whatever. And Lane also. Like, if you have this setup and, well, this one and this one, it can be anything, really. Like, it will not change much. It is good. OBG, Anchor, Dom, SMG. I put bad, because there will not be enough map control, because those 2 just sit in OBG. This one sits near OBG. Anchor is going to the spawn, but like, who will spawn those guys from OBG? And then I would have to just kind of do the map control, and it's not good. Nuke, Slay, Lane, me. Horrible. Those 2 guys will compete with each other for the kills, as well as the Slayer. Lane will just do stupid things, shoot enemies, also the same enemies, from the outside the window, whatever, and I will just sit on OBG. And it really just depends on how long I manage to sit on OBG in such a team bad. OBG versatile anchor lane slayer, it is kind of 50-50, because it depends on what versatile and slayer are doing outside the OBG location. Lane is kind of like, it does something, but not that much. So it will be OBG, anchor, and those two guys will be like main carriers. Similarly here, Dominus MG would also be like the main carry, but this is not very strong. Like if it was something else instead of one OBG, it would be great, but when it would be like this, pretty much, yeah. And so what's the point of the video? Well, you have to identify your playstyle, and I strongly suggest to get like 1 or 2 secondary playstyles that you could switch to, and just see what you have in your team, and try to fill a role that is needed, that is not filled. And so if you're OBG, maybe you can try and be a bit of an aggressive SMG OBG, or even just do OBG/anchor, go fix the spawns. Like, don't just be OBG. If you're Slayer, maybe just sometimes revert to OBG. If you're head glitcher, maybe try doing something in the game as well. What else is here? Well, versatile, it would be good if they just went to OBG as well more often. And so aggressive SMG, yeah, also if you notice that you get killed from afar too many times, just switch to slaying at least, or like Dom, whatever. So yeah.